Good morning, everyone. My name is Mohammed Amine. I'm the founder and CEO of Project Cypher and youngest entrepreneur to be on the cover of Forbes Middle East magazine. I wanted to take some time today to speak about the cloud in the context of the pandemic and a focus on cybersecurity, given that's my background. I'll try to make this keynote as informative as possible so you have a set of best practices you can take out from this talk. There is no better representation for the new normal that we are living today than the fact that we are having this conference online. We're into our second year of the pandemic, and things aren't even close to getting back to normal. While this pandemic has been devastating for millions of lives around the world, it has brought about a digitization that no one thought possible in such a short time. Microsoft CEO famously said, "We have seen 2 years' worth of digital transformation in 2 months." And when we say digitization, we can't avoid talking about the C word, the cloud. Cloud computing, which underpins the world's economy, global supply chains, and remote workforces during the coronavirus pandemic, will continue to be an essential target for organizations looking to scale and increase business efficiency in 2021 and beyond. Driven by the new normal, many organizations have already started moving their workloads in the cloud at a faster pace than ever before. Now, more than 80% of organizations are using the cloud, and that number is poised to increase to 90% by 2024. But another theme that defined the past few years is the greater scrutiny over data privacy and security, data jurisdiction enforcements, and increased cyber attacks globally. According to McAfee study, there was a 630% increase in cyber attacks on cloud services since January 2020. And with the rise of crypto and the crypto trading mania, can you guess what are the most common forms of attack? Cryptojacking. Now, hackers are trying to take over cloud servers and services in order to mine cryptocurrency, which is crazy, but when you think about their motivations a few years back were mostly about stealing data. That's no longer the case. By moving to the cloud, companies substantially grow their attack surface and their perimeters, as well as their digital footprint. As a result, organizations often lack visibility across the inventory of critical assets that they operate and own. This challenge is compounded by the cloud IT model. The IT team must understand the model for every cloud service provider that they are using, be it AWS or Azure or whatever. If they don't, they open themselves to massive cyber risk. Traditional security assessments used for on-premises environments are difficult to scale for cloud services. This makes it hard for security teams to discover and determine how well they are securing their cloud-hosted assets and what portion of the risk that they own versus the one that their cloud providers own. Since hybrid cloud is the talk of the town these days, let us just see how pervasive this model has become. Multi-cloud and hybrid cloud strategies are now the new norm, with an industry study finding 93% of organizations are using a cloud infrastructure employing a multi-cloud strategy, 87% of which are using a hybrid cloud model. As much as 85% of enterprises agree hybrid cloud is the ideal IT operating model, with the majority of respondents reporting the need for application mobility and data mobility across clouds and cloud types as essential. Although hybrid clouds can offer significant benefits, effectively deploying these environments can be challenging. Hybrid environments are more complex than pure cloud or on-premises environments. They must handle visibility, analysis, and control of additional networking, configuration, and integration tasks that would otherwise be the case. This poses few challenges, obviously, I'd like to address, starting with the beginning of every cloud journey, migration and configuration. The complexity of hybrid environments can make it difficult to ensure that your configurations are standardized and secure. You need to ensure that policies are applied uniformly and that your deployment is providing the performance you expect. You also need to ensure that when you migrate data and assets, these assets are delivered securely and intact. Now, with greater data and larger perimeters comes greater responsibility, aka monitoring. Monitoring hybrid clouds can be challenging due to the tons of services used. Although cloud services do offer monitoring tools most of the time as part of the package, it's really hard to always integrate with existing solutions. To comprehensively monitor these environments, you should deploy centralized monitoring tools, such as SIEM solutions. These solutions should continuously integrate login and event data from all your systems, and provide alerts that centralize data across your environments. The solution should also be able to correlate data across systems to identify cross movements and detect problems or attacks more reliably. Data is the new oil, and hackers are always lurking to get more of it. Hybrid solutions inherently transfer data between on-premises and cloud resources. And every time this data is transferred, it is at risk of being corrupted, intercepted, or lost. In addition, accessing the cloud requires an internet connection, which means your data is potentially reachable and accessible by anyone who has an internet connection. In a hybrid environment, data security is entirely up to you. While cloud providers offer some features for encryption and secure virtual private networks, it's up to you always to configure these features. And one of the main rule of thumbs you need to adopt is to always apply the principle of least privilege. The principle of least privilege means that applications and data should only be accessed by people who need it. This restriction helps prevent users from accessing resources or critical assets that they should not be accessing in the first place, and also helps in the case of account compromise or credentials compromise. After your hybrid cloud is deployed, you may be tempted to sit back and trust your configurations, but that is a mistake. Cloud services and default settings can change over time and frequently, and so can your needs. Or worse yet, maybe you committed a mistake or misconfigurations at the time of migration. The nature of the cloud means that audit data is much more readily available through well-defined API frameworks. Leveraging these APIs and existing cloud provider audit tools can make easier adoption of continuous audit and assessment strategies a possibility, improving overall security, risk, and audit posture. Going further to the edge of our perimeter now, let us talk about endpoints. Endpoints are all outward-facing devices on your network, including smart devices, workstations, routers, and web portals. With a hybrid cloud, your number of endpoints will increase significantly. And with each endpoint, your attack surface also increases significantly, putting your data and systems at risk. To mitigate this risk and protect yourself from cyber attacks, you need to make sure that your endpoints are properly protected. That means you need to implement firewalls, access controls, antivirus, and endpoint detection response solutions. What if all else fails? Well, that's where your backup and disaster recovery policies come into play. As with on-premises only environments, hybrid cloud requires backup and recovery policies and plans. One advantage of cloud solutions is that most of the time they come with built-in tools that facilitate this process. But remember, these tools only apply to cloud data. If you keep data or applications on-premises, well, that is entirely your responsibility, and you need to ensure you have proper duplications and recovery plans in place. In conclusion, by applying best practices, you can properly configure and secure your hybrid cloud. You can and should always apply the principle of least privilege, regularly audit your ecosystem, secure all endpoints, and create backup and disaster recovery strategies. I hope this was informative. Thank you for tuning in, and have a wonderful event.